In a dramatic escalation of geopolitical tensions in West Africa's Sahel region, sources close to the Chinese Foreign Ministry have confirmed that Beijing is preparing to provide comprehensive military arsenal support to Burkina Faso's interim leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore. This move comes amid swirling reports of a leaked document purportedly outlining U.S. plans for a potential invasion of Burkina Faso, allegedly exposed through channels linked to former President Donald Trump's administration. While the authenticity of the leak remains unverified, it has ignited a firestorm of speculation, drawing parallels to recent U.S. military posturing in neighboring Nigeria and raising fears of a broader proxy conflict in the resource-rich Sahel. The alleged leak, first circulated on anonymous online forums and amplified by Pan-Africanist social media accounts, details a classified Pentagon memo from late 2025. It reportedly sketches a multi-phase operation codenamed Operation Sahel Shield, aimed at neutralizing anti-Western juntas in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The document claims to reference Trump's public threats against Nigeria, where he redesignated the country as a Country of Particular Concern, CPC, for religious persecution and authorized Christmas Day airstrikes against ISIS-affiliated militants, as a template for intervention. Critics argue this could extend to Burkina Faso, where Traoré's government has been accused by U.S. officials of harboring jihadist elements and suppressing Christian communities, though experts like those from the Africa Center for Strategic Studies note that violence in the Sahel affects Muslims and Christians alike without clear religious targeting. Traoré, the 37-year-old army captain who seized power in a 2022 coup and has since positioned himself as a symbol of African sovereignty, has long pivoted Burkina Faso away from traditional Western allies like France and the U.S. toward Russia and China. Under his leadership, the country expelled French troops in 2023 and deepened ties with Moscow's Wagner Group, now Africa Corps, for counterterrorism operations. But China's role has grown exponentially, evolving from economic investments in mining and infrastructure to direct military aid. Since restoring diplomatic relations in 2018, Burkina Faso has received multiple shipments of Chinese hardware, including VN-22B fire support vehicles, PLL-05 self-propelled gun mortar systems, and SR-5 multiple rocket launchers capable of striking targets up to 50 kilometers away. A recent delivery in October 2025, handed over personally by Traoré during a military ceremony, included over 50 CS/VP-14 MRAP vehicles and advanced artillery systems, part of a multi-phase modernization plan announced in late 2023 to combat jihadist insurgents affiliated with Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. Insiders in Beijing describe the latest pledge as a full-spectrum arsenal commitment, potentially encompassing fighter jets, attack helicopters, drones, and even advanced air defense systems like the HQ-9 surface-to-air missiles. This would mark China's most aggressive military footprint in Africa to date, surpassing previous deals with Ethiopia and Tanzania. Analysts point to a secretive meeting in Russia earlier this year, where Traoré reportedly discussed enhanced defense pacts with Chinese officials, leading to shipments of self-defense tools via large cargo fleets. China is filling the vacuum left by Western retreats, said a defense expert from Military Africa, noting that Burkina Faso's armed forces have seen a surge in capability since 2024, with Norinco, China's state-owned defense giant, as the primary supplier. The timing of China's announcement aligns suspiciously with the leaked U.S. document, which allegedly cites Trump's America First doctrine and his invocation of the Alien Enemies Act in other contexts, such as deportations of Venezuelan nationals. The memo purportedly warns of Burkina Faso's drift toward authoritarianism and alignment with adversarial powers, framing Traoré as a threat to U.S. interests in uranium mining and counterterrorism. Speculation has intensified following a foiled assassination plot against Traoré in early January 2026, where Burkina Faso's security minister accused external forces, including unnamed Western powers, of planning a ground invasion after neutralizing the leader and disabling key drone bases. Arrests included a senior Air Force officer and links to exiled former leader Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, with funding traced to neighboring Ivory Coast, a U.S. ally. Geopolitical ripple effects are already evident. In Nigeria, Trump's threats of guns-a-blazing intervention over Christian persecutions have sparked debates about using the country as a staging ground for operations against Sahel states like Burkina Faso. Pan-African activists, including figures like Dr. Umar Johnson, have alleged U.S. plans to orchestrate coups or invasions via proxies to access resources, drawing parallels to the 2011 Libya intervention. Social media in the region buzzes with calls for Traoré to invite Russian and Chinese military bases, echoing sentiments from ex-posts urging Burkina Faso to arm to the teeth against potential U.S. aggression. Burkina Faso's internal dynamics add layers of complexity. Traoré's regime has faced criticism for human rights abuses, including reported massacres by security forces. Yet his popularity stems from anti-colonial rhetoric and efforts to process resources domestically. China's support could bolster his fight against insurgents, who control nearly half the country, but it risks entangling Beijing in a quagmire similar to Russia's in Mali. Meanwhile, U.S. withdrawals from bases in Niger and Chad in 2024 have left a power vacuum, with experts warning that Trump's selective focus on Nigeria, ignoring similar violence in Mali or Burkina Faso, signals a broader strategy to reassert influence in the Sahel. As Beijing ramps up shipments and Ouagadougou fortifies its defenses, the leaked plan has prompted urgent diplomatic maneuvering. African Union officials are calling for restraint, while Russia's foreign ministry has hinted at joint exercises with Burkina Faso. The White House has yet to comment on the leak, but sources suggest internal debates over expanding counterterrorism strikes beyond Nigeria. With tensions simmering and alliances shifting, the Sahel teeters on the edge of a new Cold War-style confrontation. The evolving tapestry of Burkina Faso-China relations, from diplomatic rebirth to strategic fortress. As the specter of a leaked U.S. invasion plan looms over Burkina Faso, the deepening alliance between Ouagadougou and Beijing takes center stage, transforming from a post-2018 diplomatic reset into a multifaceted bulwark against external pressures. This relationship, rooted in historical ebbs and flows, has accelerated in recent years, blending economic lifelines, infrastructure booms, and military muscle to fortify Captain Ibrahim Traoré's vision of sovereign resilience. Yet, beneath the surface of mutual proclamations of win-win cooperation, lie complex dynamics of dependency, geopolitical maneuvering, and local aspirations that could redefine the Sahel's power landscape. The saga begins with a pivotal switch. On May 24, 2018, Burkina Faso severed ties with Taiwan, announcing the resumption of diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China just 2 days later in a Beijing ceremony led by State Councillor Wang Yi and Burkina Faso's Foreign Minister Alpha Berry. This move ended a 24-year hiatus. Relations were first established in 1973, broken in 1994 for Taiwan amid financial incentives from Taipei, and aligned Burkina Faso with the overwhelming majority of African nations under China's One China policy. The rekindling was swift and symbolic, with President Marc Christian Cabaret attending the 2018 Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC, Beijing Summit, where Xi Jinping hailed the decision as opening a new chapter of bilateral friendly cooperation. By September 2024, under Traoré's junta, the partnership was elevated to strategic status during the latest FOCAC summit, emphasizing shared goals in modernization and security. Economically, China's footprint has expanded dramatically, positioning itself as a key investor in a nation grappling with poverty, insurgency, and resource extraction. Trade volumes surged post-2018, with the establishment of a Joint Economic and Trade Commission in May of that year, holding its inaugural meeting in April 2019. Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, has funneled funds into infrastructure, including the $49 million loan for the Dongxin Airport solar power plant in 2024, aimed at boosting energy independence and creating jobs. Mining, a cornerstone of Burkina Faso's economy, gold accounts for over 70% of exports, has seen Chinese firms like Ganfeng Lithium invest in projects, though details remain opaque amid junta control. Undisclosed debts to China have raised eyebrows, with reports suggesting Burkina Faso owes significant sums, potentially leveraging resources as collateral. Traoré's push for domestic processing, inaugurating gold refineries and cotton plants, aligns with China's 9 projects from the 2021 FOCAC Dakar conference, focusing on industrialization, employment, and SME support through $10 billion in investments from 2022 to 2024. Critics, however, point to a cooperation from below model, where informal Chinese migrants and businesses operate in sectors like retail and agriculture, sometimes clashing with local communities over labor practices. The military dimension, now thrust into the spotlight by the alleged U.S. threat, represents the most audacious evolution. Historically risk-averse in African security, China has ramped up arms transfers to Burkina Faso, surpassing Russia as sub-Saharan Africa's top supplier with a 19% market share from 2019 to 2023. The 2024 multi-phase deal with Norinco, China's state-owned defense giant, marked a turning point, delivering over 100 armored vehicles, including VN-22B fire support units, PLL-05 self-propelled mortars, and SR-5 rocket systems capable of 50-kilometer strikes. For major consignments arrived since early 2024, filling the void left by France's expulsion in 2023 and Russia's Wagner drawdowns amid Ukraine commitments. By 2025, this included advanced drones and logistics support, with FOCAC 2024 pledging $140 million for security cooperation across Africa, training 6,000 military personnel and 1,000 law enforcement officers. Traoré has leveraged this to modernize forces, distributing equipment to counter jihadists controlling swathes of territory. Yet, experts note China's strategy emphasizes non-combat roles like professional military education, PME, and peacekeeping training, promoting its governance model while avoiding direct entanglement. Burkinabe officers trained in China, part of broader exchanges, return with enhanced technical skills, fostering long-term ties. Politically, the alliance resonates with Traoré's anti-colonial rhetoric, echoing Thomas Sankara's legacy while diverging from Western models. Visits by Chinese Vice Premier Hu Chunhua in 2018 and Wang Yi in 2019 laid groundwork, reciprocated by Burkinabe delegations. In 2025, Foreign Minister Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré met Wang Yi, affirming the strategic upgrade and tangible benefits like economic growth. China's Global South narrative positions it as a partner against hegemony, supporting juntas in Mali and Niger via the alliance of Sahel states. Social media echoes this. Recent X-posts highlight China's 2026 cultural exchange launch in Ouagadougou, with Ambassador Zhao Deong promoting people-to-people ties and Burkinabe alumni sharing positive experiences. Others debate neo-colonialism, with users contrasting China's investments to Western exploitation, noting no military bases or currency mandates in Burkina Faso. This deepening bond, however, isn't without tensions. Human rights groups criticize Traoré's regime for abuses, potentially amplified by unchecked Chinese support. Economic opacity fuels concerns of debt traps, though Traoré rejects IMF/World Bank loans in favor of Beijing's concessional terms. As U.S. rhetoric hardens under Trump, invoking religious freedoms and counterterrorism, China's arsenal pledge could deter aggression, but it risks escalating proxy rivalries. With joint exercises hinted and shipments en route, the Sahel's fault lines sharpen, begging. In the intricate web of Sahel geopolitics, Russian President Vladimir Putin's endorsement of China's burgeoning support for Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore emerges as a calculated masterstroke, amplifying the alliance of Sahel states, AES, comprising Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, into a fortified anti-Western redoubt. This alignment, forged amid the leaked U.S. invasion blueprint, underscores a multipolar axis where Moscow not only sponsors AES with sophisticated weaponry but actively champions Beijing's military infusions, positioning the duo as counterweights to alleged American adventurism. Drawing from a history of opportunistic interventions, Putin's strategy blends direct arms patronage with diplomatic synergy, potentially escalating the region into a theater of great power rivalry. Russia's pivot to the Sahel intensified post-2022, capitalizing on the expulsion of French forces and U.S. drone bases from AES nations. The Kremlin, through its revamped Africa Corps, successor to the notorious Wagner Group, has embedded military advisors, trainers, and mercenaries across the alliance, transforming ragtag juntas into disciplined bulwarks against jihadist insurgencies and external threats. By early 2025, Moscow vowed comprehensive backing for the AES's proposed 5,000-strong joint counterterrorism force, pledging arms acquisitions, tactical training, and logistical support to Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger's militaries. This commitment materialized in shipments of Kalashnikov rifles, Cornet anti-tank missiles, Panzer S-1 air defense systems, and Mi-35 attack helicopters, often routed via Libyan ports or direct flights from Rostov-on-Don. Putin's personal imprimatur came during the 2023 Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg, where he boasted of military technical agreements with over 40 African states, including AES members, supplying a wide range of weapons and equipment to foster sovereignty. By 2025, this evolved into Russia's formal recognition of the AES, the first major power to do so. with Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov hailing it as a sovereign choice against neo-colonialism. Putin's sponsorship extends beyond hardware to ideological warfare, deploying pro-Kremlin influencers and disinformation networks to amplify AES narratives on platforms like Telegram and VK, portraying Western powers as aggressors while lauding Russian-Chinese solidarity. In Burkina Faso, Traoré's regime has integrated Africa Corps operatives into operations against Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, AQIM, and Islamic State in the Greater Sahara, ISGS, with reports of joint patrols in the tri-border Liptako-Gourma region yielding territorial gains, but also accusations of civilian atrocities. Niger's uranium mines, vital for Russia's Rosatom, serve as quid pro quo, granting Moscow extraction rights in exchange for Orlan, 10 drones and T-72 tanks. Mali, the AES linchpin, hosts Russian bases in Bamako and Gao, where Su-25 ground attack aircraft bolster offensives, echoing Wagner's brutal efficiency in reclaiming northern towns from Tuareg separatists. Crucially, Putin's backing of Chinese support manifests in a tacit division of labor, where Beijing's economic and arsenal pledges complement Moscow's kinetic edge. Amid the 2025 Russia-Sahel summit, Lavrov explicitly endorsed China's role, stating Russia is ready to contribute alongside partners like Beijing to equip the AES joint force against external interference. This synergy draws from broader Sino-Russian pacts, such as the 2023 joint statement by Putin and Xi Jinping on deepening strategic coordination, emphasizing win-win cooperation in global hotspots. By 2025, this translated to coordinated diplomacy. During Xi's state visit to Moscow, the leaders critiqued U.S. hegemony in Africa, pledging mutual support for initiatives in multipolar regions like the Sahel. Russian diplomats in Ouagadougou have facilitated Chinese arms deals, sharing intelligence on jihadist threats to protect Beijing's mining investments in Burkina Faso's goldfields. Putin's rhetoric frames this as a new era alliance, with 2024 to 2025 deals spanning trade and military tech, including joint exercises hinted at in AES territories. The AES's militarization under Russian sponsorship has sparked internal evolutions, with juntas launching a joint battalion in late 2025 to patrol borders, armed with Russian-supplied BM-21 Grad rocket launchers and Chinese drones for reconnaissance. Foreign ministry statements confirm ongoing dispatches of military specialists and equipment, bolstering AES defenses amid U.S. threats. Yet, this infusion raises specters of dependency. AES economies, strained by sanctions, barter resources for arms, while Russian propaganda networks stoke anti-Western fervor, aligning with Traoré's calls for Pan-African unity. As Putin deepens ties through August 2025 military consultations, sealing defense pacts, the Sahel morphs into a proxy arena, with Chinese hardware and Russian tactics intertwining to defy the alleged Trump-era invasion blueprint, prompting questions about escalation and regional stability that hang heavy over the volatile landscape. Delving deeper into Putin's multifaceted sponsorship reveals a blueprint of asymmetric warfare tailored to the AES's guerrilla terrain. Russian arms deliveries, often shrouded in secrecy, include cutting-edge electronic warfare systems like the Krasuka 4 jammers, designed to disrupt U.S. drone surveillance and GPS-guided munitions, a direct counter to the leaked Pentagon memo's emphasis on air superiority. In Mali, where Russian influence is most entrenched, the junta under Colonel Assimi Goïta has paraded Su-25 Frogfoot jets acquired via Moscow's Rosoboron export, conducting precision strikes that reclaimed Kidal from insurgents in 2024, albeit at the cost of reported civilian casualties tallied by Amnesty International at over 200. Niger's General Abdurrahmane Tiani, meanwhile, has integrated Russian-supplied TOS-1A thermobaric rocket launchers into border defenses, deterring incursions from ECOWAS-backed forces in Benin and Nigeria. Burkina Faso's slice of this arsenal features Iglis man-portable air defense systems, enabling Traoré's troops to neutralize low-flying threats, with training camps in Bobo Dioulasso hosting Russian instructors who drill in urban combat and counterinsurgency tactics honed in Syria and Ukraine. Putin's vocal advocacy for China's involvement adds a diplomatic layer, with Kremlin spokespeople like Dmitry Peskov framing the duo's efforts as a united front against unilateralism, echoing sentiments from the 2024 BRICS summit in Kazan, where Xi and Putin pledged enhanced coordination in Africa. This includes intelligence sharing via secure channels, where Russian satellites provide real-time imagery to Chinese drone operators embedded in AES operations, creating a hybrid force multiplier. Economically, Moscow sweetens the pot with debt relief and wheat shipments, vital amid Sahel food crises. While sponsoring AES initiatives like the Confederation's proposed common currency, the Sahel, to break from the CFA franc's Western ties. Yet, this largesse comes with strings. Reports from ex-whistleblowers and investigative journalists detail Russian mining concessions in AES gold and uranium fields, with firms like Alrosa and Nordgold expanding operations under military protection, fueling accusations of resource plunder. Social media in the region amplifies these narratives, with pro-AES accounts on X praising Putin's brotherly aid through viral videos of arms parades, while detractors warn of a new imperialism, citing Wagner's alleged mass graves in Mora, Mali. The convergence of Russian sponsorship and Chinese backing crystallizes in joint ventures, such as the 2025 tripartite agreement signed in Moscow, where AES leaders committed to hosting multinational security hubs, blending Norinco artillery with Russian special forces. Putin's strategy here mirrors his playbook in the Middle East, using arms as leverage to secure footholds, while deferring to China's economic prowess to sustain long-term alliances. As the leaked U.S. plan circulates, now dissected in AES war rooms, this axis poses a formidable deterrent, with simulations suggesting that combined Russian-Chinese tech could prolong any invasion into a costly stalemate, reminiscent of Afghanistan's quagmires. Regional actors watch warily. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has ramped up border patrols, while the African Union convenes emergency sessions, decrying foreign meddling yet powerless amid junta defiance. In this high-stakes chess game, the Sahel's future hinges on whether this Russo-Chinese shield holds against Western pressures, or fractures under internal strife and global scrutiny. As developments unfold, the world braces for potential flashpoints that could redraw Africa's security map. If you found this breaking news insightful, like, subscribe, and share to stay updated on global shifts in the Sahel and beyond.